episode of Myva and Me, where we talk about Japanese and photography on this channel. Now, in today's episode, we'll be talking about my biggest mistakes I've ever made in photography. Alright, so this is probably a common mistake, but it's still a big mistake in general, is not shooting in RAW. Not shooting in RAW is the biggest mistake you can make because there's not enough information in the picture itself for you to manipulate and correct. Say if you shot something that was overexposed or underexposed, you can't bring back the values of that picture. You can't bring back most of the quality of that picture is gone. If you shoot in JPEG, there's a color space. There's a ceiling of how much color you can put into the image itself, and the flexibility of that image is so limited, and it's so crucial to shoot in RAW. Because there's a lot of pictures I've done, because I was starting out in the beginning. I didn't know what file formats, I didn't know what the TIFF file, I didn't know what a JPEG was, I didn't know what a CR2 file is, whatever. I use Canon. It's a Canon T5i. Just started out, just wanted to, try new things, right? But one of the biggest things when I look back today is not shooting in RAW, because I can't correct or do more with my images. The next big mistake that I did that I shouldn't have done, but it's because I just don't know, right? Shooting on a high ISO. So shooting on an ISO that's above like 1600 or even 382, that image is going to be grainy and there's a lot of noise, and it's somewhat, most of the time, probably unusable, right? And when you go back and edit it, which I would save my file format in JPEG, the image would break because there's not enough I can do to flex of the image, not enough control I have, right? So because the ISO is too high, it's so much more easier for that image to break, that image to not look that, because the less ISO you have, the more cleaner the image will be, right? What you can do is get a speed light or get a different source of light, or be creative. Use what is around you. Use, think outside the box and pick the right location to shoot. Don't just raise your ISO because the conditions that you're in are bad. Use your mind and think of a better light source to use to light up the subject, to light up, say if you're doing, I don't know, like a landscape, try to maybe have like a little light you have with you or something. Or I don't advise using your flash, the in-body flash that you have on your camera, that built-in flash, whatever, because the light is not strong enough. But I would invest in the speed light, because if I had a speed light at that time, life would be a lot more easier. I would have better images. I just say that. So I would have better images. Now this part is not into the art of photography itself. It is in the business of photography, right? My biggest mistake I've done is DMing people for shoots, or like coordinating with people on a DM or a messenger or whatever. If you have a strong relationship with your model or your client or whatever, you can do from DM whatever, because they understand how procedure should be done. But you should not be doing that if you're serious about this stuff. If you're serious about making like a career out of this, or making money out of this, or even using it for, like, I don't know, selling on like Shutterstock or some commercial use, right? You need to have everything on email, or it's written down on some kind of agreement, all right? That would probably be one of the big mistakes, because there's a lot of shoots I've had before that I go for DM, and it doesn't go well, because one of the features that's in Instagram is that you can say something, right? You can write something, whatever, write down, right? And I don't know, say you said you wanted to meet at this one place, whatever, right? Then the next person agrees to it, and then you show up at that place, and then they can delete what they said, and when you go and talk to them to figure out why, why didn't you show up, why did you do this, whatever, right? It's like, well, I never said that, whatever. There's no proof. Basically, me saying I would do this thing with you. This world is getting into that place now where people don't want to be accountable for anything, and it's your word against their word. Don't get yourself in a situation like that. Now, I was sort of talking about this in the other one. Yeah, the other one was talking about emailing, whatever. But this one is just like completely contract. You need to have a contract. I don't care if it's your friend or you're doing it for like a fun thing, whatever. If you're not using it for commercial use, you're not using it for like editorial purposes, or like I said, going on Shutterstock and selling it as a stock photo. You need to have a contract. You need to have a contract. Don't skip on that. There's a lot of online sources that can give you like a free template to make a contract for wedding photography, for portrait photography. It's there. Don't please. I can't stress enough. Please get an agreement made on paper and let them sign it. You sign it. You both are on the same page on what you're planning to do for a shoot. Don't play that, man. Here's another one. It's kind of an artsy kind of thing, but it's more of consuming rather than creating. And this is a big mistake. I would say that I still go for this mistake sometimes, of consuming content rather than actually creating content. But yeah, as you can see, I'm making this video right now, so I'm definitely doing the content stuff, right? Anyways, you need to put yourself in the frame of creating content, making the stuff that you're proud of. The stuff that you're gonna look back and feel good about. Things that you're proud of, right? Don't just be looking at some video about some other person's tutorial or some other artist's work, and then just turning into a complete fan of what they do and not actually making anything at all, right? That is a trap, and that's gonna build fear in yourself in the future. It's gonna stop you from actually thinking outside the box and actually making up your own concepts and your own projects that you'd like to do that make you be the best version of yourself. Because when you start doing that, when you start thinking outside the box and start thinking your own content and your own I'm losing the words here, your own specific thing that it's your style, your essence, right? That's when you feel like you're living. That's when you feel like you're on the right path on your journey, on your artistic journey for photography. So I had a time that I was just consuming content, not just in the way of just like, oh, it's being a fanboy of someone else. I had a lot of photographers that I really like, and I like watching them, and I like seeing their work and their craft and all that stuff. One is like educational purposes, obviously, and another side is just like, wow, this person made this. Like, it's that you need to still like keep learning, obviously, but at the same time you gotta step back and actually make something, because what's the point in not doing it, right? All right, this one is not exactly huge on this like images itself, on like putting on online, but I would say if you're gonna print or make prints, having your settings on RGB rather than sRGB, like Adobe RGB rather than sRGB, you should do that, because you get the full spectrum of colors through your camera. And if you're going on Photoshop, put it on Adobe RGB, because you get the full amount of colors. You don't, in sRGB you get it's not like you have a limited amount of colors, but it's not as much as Adobe RGB, right? And for prints itself, it can change the quality of what it looks like, right? So I want you to think about that of your camera settings, not just like sRGB compared to Adobe RGB. Think of your camera settings and what exactly do you want for your colors, your contrast, your sharpness. And understand your camera. Understand that, so it makes things more easier for you. A lot of what I went through, mistakes I went through, is not understanding my camera to its full extent, and not putting enough time in understanding what kind of flavor I like. Right? Once you figure out your flavor, once you figure out what's going to give it the right quality, the right amount of basically using the peak performance of your camera to the extent of what you think it can go to. That was basically my problem, right? So that's it. Well, guys, thanks for watching my video. That was all about mistakes that I've done. Some of it is just I kind of like sprinkle out more, but yeah, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, all that good jazz. And if you want to know more about my biggest mistakes, there'll be a blog post in the description below to my website. You can read that, and if you like my stuff, subscribe to the mailing list. I always make different I don't want to say like tutorials, but more like advice and like tips and tricks of photography and my journey itself. So if you're interested in that, subscribe to my mailing list. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll see you guys next Friday. Peace.